Hello there. Thank you very much for joining me. Today we're going to be going over how to create custom covers and how to submit them. So before we jump into that, I do want to share with you our YB Live page over here. Let me just move some stuff around so we can see it. You guys still see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up if you do. Okay, good. Okay, and do you see that I'm in the customer page? The Pictavo, okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so I am in the Yearbook Life customer page, and the way we get to that is by going to yearbooklife.com and then go to already a customer, and then we're going to go to Pictavo because we're using the Pictavo software, and I just want to show you a couple of things that we have here. One being the news you can use and downloadable forms. I always like to direct people to here because we have a PDF of our art guides right here. And we have, we actually have all kinds of useful information here. We have how-to videos. If you're the admin of the book, you have administrative guides here, information. We have, if you have set up a Pictavo community storefront, we have flyers for that here as well. So that is a useful place to check out. Another one that we added this year is our marketing tools. And especially nowadays, because we're recommending that you set up your online storefront, or actually we're setting up your online storefront for you. We just need the information from you. So we are showing you as much marketing tools that you will need. So if you go here to marketing tools, you will see we have email templates set up for messaging your parents in your community. We have social media template samples that you can use. We also have these little designs, if you will, letting the parents know or letting the community know to order their yearbook. So it's not just a boring email that they're getting all the time. They'll have something fun to go with it. And then they have the messaging information right here that you can just copy and paste and put the link to the storefront there, okay, or to the website for Pictavo for them to order. Okay, so once we have that, since we have that out of the way, let me go ahead and jump into the software. And bear with me, there we go. Okay, and this flashes over here, so I'm gonna get rid of this. Otherwise, that flashing back and forth is gonna drive me crazy. And that's just my own craziness, I know this. Okay, so here we are. I'm sure you're familiar with this page already with your the login page with your activity, and you can start designing your cover a couple of different ways. You can do the drop-down menu here on design and click on outside cover, or you can go over to the ladder, and I want to go ahead and show you the ladder way because there's a couple of different things you can do here from the ladder section. One of them being is that you can proof your book. You can see thumbnail pages of your cover and your pages, and you can proof it this way by seeing if you have any warnings like this. I just cleared out our cover, so there's nothing there, but you could have warnings that say things like, things are outside of the margin, or you have a low resolution photo. So those are the kind of warnings you will see. When you are ready to jump into your page or your cover, you're gonna go ahead and select it and click the edit button, or you can double click it and it will take you to the cover to start designing. And I always say, even if you are, well, this applies more to pages. So let me just X that out. We're gonna go here to the art guide, and we're gonna click on custom covers. And then we can go to the library and choose any of the covers that are created here, any of the cover backgrounds. Because, let's go ahead and choose Fusion, and we're gonna go ahead and click and drag one of these over. Because even though these are pre-designed covers, they are considered custom covers because they are customizable. So now once that you're here, you can go ahead and customize this to however you want. Yes, the background will stay the same, but you can go ahead and add text here. You can add a photo box. You can add clip art. by designing, by using any of the design elements that we have in the library. And you can mix and match the different themes that we have, or you can go ahead and stick to one particular one. And I said fusion, right? So let's go ahead and see what we got here. So let's say we wanted to add more of these arrows. And they will, anything with a color wheel will let you know that that item is colorable. So even if it comes on here, black or gray, you might see it, you can colorize it because the color wheel will pop up, and then you can go ahead and change those colors. You can customize the colors by playing around with the saturation and the values, like so. And then if you have a color that you want to use throughout, once you create it, you can go ahead and save it by clicking over here on the plus sign under Project Save Colors. So that is your clip art or accents. We also have snippets, and snippets are mini little templates that you can also customize as well. So let's say we click and drag this one and we want to put some photos of the school and maybe a flag or things like that. But we don't have 4 photos to use. We only want to use 3 of them. So we can ungroup this because right now it's all grouped together, so it can move together for you. And then we deselect it and select again individually, like so. And now we can go ahead and customize it to our needs. If we wanted to regroup it again, just click and drag to highlight the whole thing, and then you can go ahead and group it together like so. When you are ready to insert text to put the school name and the year, you can click here on the T for text, and you can add a headline. And this will add a headline with the text that is preset here, but this is customizable. So you can go ahead and make changes to it. You can change the color here under the little wizard wand. You can do a drop shadow. You can play around with the drop shadow distances. If you click here under T, you can change the font style. And if you get a warning like this, what it means is if we click on it, it'll tell you what the warning is. Not all the text in this box is visible. So at this point, you know to either resize the text box by clicking and dragging to make it larger like that, or you can change the sizing of your font if you wanted to make it fit, for example, in that box back there. Right now it's at 29, so you can play around with it that way. Here under the I for properties or info, I don't know why it's an I, but it's information on that specific item. And you will see the size of that text box. You will see the position of it. You can rotate it by nudging little bits at a time like this. You can rotate it by clicking and dragging the corners like so. And you can play around with the arrangement here. If you want to send it backwards or bring it forward, you can play around with the arrangement there. So that is how you would design something if you're using a pre-designed template. So now,
I have a question on the text. Because I'm trying to work on it, and where it says add header, how do you change that text?
The one right here?
Well, I mean, once you put it on the, where you want it, how do you actually change the text? Yeah, so how do you write in what you want it to say?
So you highlight it, and then you start typing it.
Okay, all right, awesome. I didn't know that.
I know, I'm amazing. I'm a problem solver.
all the little things is like, how do you do it? I don't know. So no thank
problem. You. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so if you wanted to use student art, a lot of schools like to use student art and use it as a cover. You can go ahead and do that. Let me clear this background out. And then we have a clean slate to play with. And you can do it a couple of different ways. So you will need to scan the student artwork, and you need to scan it at 300 dpi at the size that you want to insert it. So if you want it to cover your entire page or your entire cover, front cover, make sure that the art is at 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12, depending on your book size. Otherwise, what ends up happening is if you scan it smaller and then stretch it, then you lose resolution, and you definitely don't want to do that, especially on your cover. So let's go ahead and insert a background, and then we will insert, well, you know what, let's insert photo boxes. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to scan your artwork, and then you're going to upload them into your Candids just like you would any other photo, and then you're going to place it in your cover. So you're going to go ahead and insert a photo box, and let's insert a square, and let's size it more or less the size that we want to cover in our front cover. And by the way, this is a hardcover book that I'm working with, and this yellow that you see right here, this would be the wrap of the book. The green right here would be your crimp line, which means it's where when you open it up, it's that little fold there. And then the pink would be the margins for your spine, so for your spine text. So if you wanted to put spine text, you would need to keep it between these two pink lines. Okay, so let's now insert a couple of more, because let's say we want to do runners up for the back. And now we're ready to insert some photos. And of course you can place these as you wish and make them the size that you want. I'm just kind of eyeballing them here. I always recommend to create a folder in your Candids named cover. That way you know where to pull all your artwork from, even if it's just photos that you want to upload and use, just keep it under cover. That way you know you have one little specific place to pull from. And we're going to go ahead and click and drag one here, and I know that it's going to drop in the text box, in the photo box, because it has a red mark around it. So if I were to want it here, I would drop it there. Okay. Now, once we have it in there, now we can play around with a zoom in and crop, with a zoom and crop. So now we can go ahead and click here that edit and crop tool. And if we look right now, we'll see that the image itself is selected. So we can go ahead and place that a little better. And then if we click in the middle of it, now it's selecting the actual shape of the photo box, the actual photo box, not the image. So now we can zoom, we can trim and crop that. If we wanted to zoom in and out of this, we can by clicking and dragging it like so. Oops. There we go. And now just click outside of it to deselect it, and now you have your cover there. Now at this point, you can do any design options that you want. You can put a border around it. If we go over here to the wizard wand, then you can play around with your borders, change the color of the borders, change the thickness of it. Right here, you can do a drop shadow, so you can do several design elements here as well. One more thing I want to show you is the DPI of the photo. So we were talking about you don't want to stretch it, that it will stretch too much and lose resolution. Anything under 200 DPI will generate a warning. You can see what the DPI of that photo is right here. We recommend at least 300, but anything under 200 will generate a warning letting you know that it's just too low of a resolution, like so. Let me see if I can stretch this out so we can see what that looks like. Well, geez, we'll get there. There we go. So there is that little sign letting you know that that warning is there, it's too low. And if you see the DPI is only 194, and then it'll stay there until you resize it and it's at a acceptable resolution. And then you will also get the warning if you are outside of the margins, which is what I'm getting right now. This is outside of the trim edge, and it could be cut during the production process. So you always want to make sure that you have everything in your safety zone, which would be inside this box right there. Let me close this out so we can see it better. This box right here. Keep in mind that this is, if you have a hardcover book, this is your crimp, so it will fold there. So you wouldn't want to put maybe text here, but you could stretch the image all the way to the edge here, which would be the beginning of your binding, of your spine, I'm sorry, of your spine. Okay, and of course you can insert text boxes here. If you wanted to insert a student name, you can, oh, let me get out of this. Okay, now you can insert the student name here and kind of play around with that. If you wanted to insert a spine text, you can just insert that and then just rotate the text box and put it right there in between the two hot pink lines. Like so. I also recommend, if you are doing something like this, where you have the artwork, this back here will stay white. So if you wanted it to have some kind of color, keep in mind that you want to insert some kind of background. So you can go here to our custom covers, and you can go over to colorable. And if we go to the library, you will see all of our covers that are colorable. And you can just pick and choose one and insert it. Something maybe like this, or you can just do a plain black if you wanted to. I know we have one there, and I think it's under plain and simple. But you get the idea. So then once we have that, of course, you can customize the color if you wanted to. And then this kind of, if you don't have a border over here, then it kind of gives it a framed look. So it's just not a white background, but that's entirely up to you. If your artwork you think stands out better with a white background, then by all means, leave it all in white. If you want to bleed this all the way to the edge, then be sure to extend it all the way to the edge of the yellow. Whether you have a hardcover book or a soft cover book, you will have this yellow border around your book, and that is your bleed zone, and then you would need to extend it. If you're a hardcover book, obviously this is going to be thicker than if you have a soft cover book, because the bleed is going to be bigger on a hardcover book because you have that wrap that goes inside the cover. So if you know what I mean. Okay, so that is how we would design our cover right there. And to submit it, let's go ahead and save this just because I need something saved to submit. We're going to go back to the ladder. And this is really the easiest part. Please keep in mind that custom covers are due February 1st, and then your pages will be due on your actual due date. But the cover, if you're doing a customized cover, that needs to come in on February 1st. To avoid any penalties. And it's still saving here for me. So let's just give it a second. That's what that little clock is. It's refreshing for me. I'm going to go ahead and refresh and hope that that makes it move a little. Just for the sake of time. If this was a cooking show, I would have something already cooked. Okay, there we go. Okay, so once it's ready to be submitted, we're going to go ahead and approve it. And only admins of the book can approve the and submit the book the cover and the pages. So keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and give it the thumbs up to approve it. And now we're ready to submit it. And we're going to go ahead and deselect it and click this little button right here with the book. If you hover over it, it will tell you submit your project. And it will not let you submit your pages. So it's not like you can mess this up. We're going to go ahead, click here, submit cover. And now we'll ask you several questions about your cover and about your book specs. The estimated page count, you can go ahead and estimate whatever your page count you think it's going to be. It will automatically always have your page count that you have in your publishing order. So that's right here. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at 96. This really only comes into play if you increase it enough that the cover has been printed and then you need to add, let's say, 50 more pages. Then that's a substantial difference. If your cover has been printed, then your spine is going to be thicker. So then at that point, just give us a call and we can figure out what to do from there. This is your cover lamination. All of these, the gloss linen, the matte linen, those are extra charges. So if you want to use any of that, you can go ahead and let us know and we'll give you pricing. But by the time you get down here to the cover to submit it, chances are you're already going to know what you are wanting, if you want any special features on your cover. Here we have end sheets. Standard end sheets in white are free. If you wanted color, that's an extra charge as well. So you can go ahead and let us know and we'll let you know what the pricing is. Then we have personalized cover. If you're getting a personalized cover, then you would need to choose which option you are setting up right now. So this is where it's asking you that. Which option do you want to use? And again, if you have a personalized book, you probably already will know that you want foil. You just come over here and need to pick what color foil you would want. Let's go ahead and keep on scrolling. If you have any special instructions, such as, I'm trying to think, can't think of anything specific for the cover. I know when you submit pages, you can put special instructions like you want to be contacted before the books are mailed, something like that. You would put that information here. I can't really think of anything else that you could put for special instructions, but it's there. If you needed to put any notes, we will see it and we will always reach out if we have any questions on it. You do not get a proof of your cover, so you will go, once you submit it, it will go ahead and go to print. The low resolution approval. So if you are approving, if you want to be contacted, if you have a low resolution image in your front cover, then don't just click yes for approval. Click no to be contacted if the cover image are low resolution. And that's by default, it will always go here. And I'd always recommend that because you don't want a low resolution image on your front cover. Then it has some final information here about your submission that you can read through for your reading pleasure. And then just click here, I, Jeanette Spittler, agree. And of course, in your case, it would be your name. And then you would click on submit cover and it would submit your cover for you. Then once that's done, it will, let me show you what the message you'll get here instead of this. Let me cancel this. We're going to go over here to the help menu. We're going to click on Pictavo help. And here you can come to, if you have any questions on submitting your cover, submit cover, approving and submitting your cover, and it will give you step-by-step instructions of exactly what I just went over. But then this is what it will look like once it's done. It will let you know your cover has been submitted. It will have this little cover submitted. So there won't be any questions whether the submit went through or not. And this will too apply to your pages. Once your pages are submitted, you will have this in green as well, letting you know that your pages have been submitted. Okay, so now that I've gone over that, do y'all have any questions for me? We can, I'm gonna see if I have anything in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. I think it's just a couple of us here, so. Oh, I do have something in the chat. Oh, it's so exciting when I have something. somebody that shall remain nameless said they were eating, so they weren't showing their face on the video. You're fine. You're fine. The only reason I'm showing my face, even without makeup, is because I have to. All right. Any questions related to submitting your cover or designing, anything of the sort? You can either type it up on the chat box, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away. Okay. All right. Are we good? Got nothing else for you. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for joining me, and I appreciate it. If you have any questions, always please feel free to reach out, and we're here to help you every step of the way. And you guys have a lovely night.